Sabor a mí is really one of the greatest songs ever written, I think. It's one of those old classic Mexican boleros, and it's really got a lot of jazzy chord ideas in there, something that you don't really see in too many of those old Mexican songs. But let's look at the melody of this one and see if we can figure out what's happening here. I play this in the key of G major, all the F's are sharp, but there's so many wacky chords in here. In the B section, we go to another key, so there's gonna be a lot of chromatic, non-diatonic notes as we go throughout, but it begins like this. Just talking about the melody here. Starting on a B note, just going B, C, D, coming back down the scale, and then landing on this B note, and then going down to E. And that's a kind of parallel thing that's gonna happen in a minute, a little bit to the left here. Okay, then from this A note, we do the same exact idea. I love when that kind of stuff happens. It's very pleasing to the brain, I think, like autumn leaves. Absolutely parallel things are happening. We start on our note and we climb up in a certain way, you know, getting up to this C note, and then we just keep doing it and keep doing it. And I think our brains like that. I think that's what makes things more appealing to us when we have those patterns in there, I think. Then we're gonna do the same thing on F sharp, kind of. Right there we are at the end of that section there, that main phrase with a G note. So it's an open E string against the low G, it's a G chord there, and that is a classic type of chord, a G major 6 chord. Kind of an old school jazzy way to do things, like before, pre-World War II, you hear a lot of, in major keys, major 6 chords, and then maybe more modern stuff, at least maybe not anymore, but is a major 7th chord, we would expect. And that happens also in this song. It's pretty interesting. So let's look at the chords. We had an A minor 7th chord, then a C minor 6th chord, then it went to G major 7, then it went G over B. We could play that this way, and then to B flat diminished. So a lot of interesting chords here. Then A minor 7, D7, we got a G chord here, and then in D augmented chord. So in my melody, I went. There's our C minor chord. There it is again. That's a major 7th chord. That's A minor 7 with G on top. Here's another way to play D7. You might know that one, or this one. This is kind of a combo of them. And then we go open E string and grab these 3 strings. That is a G chord. There's a G major chord built into the guitar. And I did this. Hit that nice and loud. Now we're back to this again. The second time around, instead of doing this ending, we're gonna go, and that's where we say Sabor a mí. This is another way to play D7, but it has a 6th on there. Let's call it a 13th because it's a 7th chord. That's an extension. And so that's, again, not an uncommon thing. It's a 6, just like we said on the G chord. I got a G major 6-9 right here. And then what I like to do is go to a minor chord here. C minor 6, that's coming from the parallel minor. Such a nice little theory thing to know. Beatles did that, you hear it in all kinds of stuff. Hey, if you want to go in depth on Sabor a mí, I have an entire course in my monthly membership where we learn the melody 1 octave lower, then an octave higher. I have an entire chord study that I walk you through, kind of talk about the music theory of Sabor a mí. And then if you want to get the tab and have me teach you my entire arrangement, check that out at theversatileguitarist.com. And now we're over here to the B section. That's gonna go like this, just the melody. So notice already, we have an F natural note. That means we're in a different key. We're in the key of C for a moment. It's gonna go D minor 7 to G7, that's a 2-5. And we should want to hear a C chord after that, and that's just what's gonna happen. Okay, here's a melody. Let's put the chords underneath that so we can go like this. Here's our G7. Now we have to do it this way. A second ago I played G that way, but you always have to accommodate. If you're doing a chord melody, you gotta accommodate the chords and play it differently, right? Big stretch here. Look at that. C major, and we drag this down over the G chord, and that is G7 with a sharp 5. Also an augmented chord. Okay, so we're going. Now we have a 2-5 in the key of D major. We have E minor to A7. And now it's going to go back to the key of G by playing an A minor chord, and then we have a D7, and then it resolves back to G, or you think it's going to resolve back to G, but it just goes to the A section again. So that last part is going. There's your D7. Here's back to the beginning again. We could say that this is the C section, but it's really just a recap of the A. I like to go like this. Get an E7 sound in there because we're trying to get to A minor, and E7 is the 5 of A minor. Do the second ending of the A section this time. And this time for an ending, all kinds of stuff we could do. I'm just going to a 1-4, 1-4, 1-4. The 1 is G and the 4 is C, and I'm keeping this shape the whole time. So this is a really cool kind of accident on the guitar. We can get a G major 6th with a 9 in it, so G6-9, and then if I change the bass note, C6-9. It's like this magical, the numbers get flipped over, but they're this, to that chord, those numbers are correct. G6-9, C6-9. You get a lot of mileage out of that for the ending of the song. So this song is a bolero. You could definitely like give it a bossa nova vibe if you wanted to, but all you have to do at the end is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, like that. Kind of like the end of Corcovado. See this a lot where they play a C chord and they go up a half step. Reminds me of that. But so many ways that you could end this, and these harmonics, these 4 strings with G in the bass, would be a great way to end it too, because it has that sound of a major 6th in there, which is a great old-timey Latin sound. Sabor is one of the greatest songs of all time, I think. Really fun to play on nylon string guitar. Some great tasty chords in there. And if you like these old Mexican boleros from the golden age, let me show you how to play Bésame Mucho.